Okay, Mr. President, we have a quorum, and Ajoy will join us when his other meeting is ended.
Beautiful. Okay. Well, welcome to the January 4th, 2023. Happy New Year's, everybody. And this is our first of the year meeting. And call to order, we've got Jerry Willies here. We got Bill Ganger, Bob Rollinger, and Bill Ganger, and I do not see Mitch yet.
I'm here.
Mitch is here? All right. Mitch, and then we got Ajoy attending a little bit later. So with that, we'll open up oral communications number one. We do have two oral communication periods. One, the first one is limited to 2 minutes per individual. The one at the end is limited to 5 minutes per individual. And you can only do one. Maximum time for this communication period will be 10 minutes. And the ending oral communications period, we do 30 minutes. So in case anybody needs longer time. You only get to speakers only get to attend one communications. Do we have anybody that would like to speak at this time?
Please raise your hand if you would like to speak. Not seeing anybody.
Okay. At this time, we will go to reports. We'll bring up the financial reports, 2022 financial reports for fiscal year 22-23 for the period of November.
So you have your financial packet in front of you, and there's probably not too many things I need to bring up, but there are a couple items that I just want to point out that are just kind of need to be addressed. One of them, if you look at line item 48195, reimbursement of expenses, you'll see that there has been zero income earned, but we budgeted for $45,000. What that is it's a change in practice. So in the past, we used to charge our commercial booth vendors for electricity and water, and then we booked it all into that reimbursement of expenses. Our two salespeople for our vendor booths and our food booths asked us to not do that anymore and instead raise the rates on just the booth fees that were paid. So we did raise the booth fees, which you can see under 44514, which is the commercial booth rent. And you'll see that we made about $30,000 more this year. And that is where that money would have been booked under reimbursement of expenses in the past. So it's just a changing in our sales practices and how we're booking that revenue. So the revenue is still there, it's just under a different line item. Let's see, I also want to point out overtime pay, which is under line item 511115. We budgeted $1,000. Normally we don't have much overtime for the fair, but as you all know, labor has been challenging lately. So we had our staff working some overtime during the fair, and because of that, they did get paid out in overtime. Most of our staff gets paid in comp time, so they get compensation time and take it off later. But if they exceed 120 hours in comp time, then they get paid out in overtime. And that is what happened with Albert and basically the entire maintenance staff, is they were exceeding the 120 hours of comp time.
Okay.
Let's see, there was a couple other things I wanted to point out. You can see that the open class expenses exceeded the budget extensively. This was the first year that open class livestock was on its own weekend entirely taking up the barns. It used to be when we were under the 4-day format, 4-H and FFA were the primary, and we had a handful of open class livestock mixed in. We did not expect the turnout we got. It was great, but certainly wasn't budgeted for. We had no idea when we put the budget together that we would have that big of a turnout for open class livestock. The good news is it was good for the fair. It was good for our spectators, a little bit hard on the pocketbook. When we budgeted last year for 4-H and FFA expenses, we did not know that their numbers would rebound so well, which is great for 4-H, great for the fair. Again, a little bit hard on the pocketbook. So those are those expenses. And then lastly, parking. Parking exceeded the budget quite a bit as well. And again, that the labor really killed us on parking. Normally we pay our parking people minimum wage. This year, in order to compete with McDonald's and Starbucks, we had to pay them $18 an hour. So we really paid out a lot more in parking expenses. And was there something else, Jerry, that you'd asked me about, you wanted me to address? I don't recall.
No, I think you covered the issues or the questions that I had, and you added a couple yourself. So no, I think we're good. So thank you for doing that.
Any other discussion on the November 2022 financials? If not, can we get a motion to approve?
I so move.
Okay, second.
Second.
Thanks, Bob. All in favor?
Aye.
Or none? Okay, anybody in disfavor? Disapproval? Okay, seeing none, finances are approved. Next up, 4-H.
I just heard from Alan about half an hour ago, and he was unable to attend tonight. He said he didn't really have much of an update, but he'll catch us on our next meeting.
Okay. And with that, old business, let's go into the draft of the strategic plan review.
So Ben is with us, so he can certainly answer any questions if you have, but these next few slides are going to be, hi Ben, based upon the requests that you all made to Ben at our last meeting regarding the strategic plan. So Ben took your requests after the last meeting and condensed them into one document. I took that document and I put it in your packet, and I also broke it down into 3 slides here. So the vision, the mission, the purpose, and the motto is what you asked for. So I'm asking you to take a look here in your packet or on the slides. And if this looks good, thumbs up, and we can go on to the next. Or if you want to talk about it or discuss more, that is fine as well.
Any questions from anybody?
Thumbs up.
With that, it's good to go, is it? Anybody want to see it? All right, it's good to
Looks
go.
good to me.
Good. So then we have 5 desired outcomes with action items. These were the things that you guys really dug into at our retreat and also at last month's meeting. So Ben took your feedback and condensed them. These desired outcomes and action items. So this is the first and second, community building and health and safety. So again, review, it's in your packet. It's also on the slides. If you need to discuss or make changes, please let us know.
Any questions on 1 and 2? Seeing none, I guess we're good to go.
Looks
Mitch,
good.
Mitch, you just unmuted. Did you have a comment?
No, I just think we discussed this quite a bit in the last meeting and before. I just perused it quickly. I think we're probably spent enough time on it.
Okay. We can
And
move
then
on.
here are the final 3 outcomes and action items. And then that will be, you will need to take action if this is something that you're approving as your new updated strategic plan, which we will then present to the Board of Commissioners at next week's meeting.
Any
I
questions?
think it looks like what we asked for. I think it's a great job, Ben. Great.
Yep. Okay, if everybody's in agreement, can we get a motion to approve the new strategic plan?
I'll make a motion. We approve the strategic plan.
Anybody want to second it?
Second from Jerry.
Harry second it. All in favor, signify by saying
Aye.
aye. Thumbs up.
Okay.
Anybody thumbs down? Okay, we're good to go.
All right. Well, thank you all. You know, we have not done an update on our strategic plan for a few years, so this is great. Thank you, Ben, for leading us through this process. It was really a good process that we went through, and we do appreciate all of the work that you helped us with. And with that, we are done with our strategic planning process, and we will forward this on next week to the Board of Commissioners.
Leah, do we have any other old business?
Not from me.
Okay. Moving on to new business. The proposed budget for fiscal year 2023, 2024.
So we are in budget season. Hang on, I've got somebody chatting something in the comments. Hold on. Oh, from Ben, you are welcome. Congratulations to the Fair Board. Thanks, Ben.
Thank you.
So it is budget season here in Washington County, which happens every year. And so the budget for the county is due in March, but because the Fair Board approves the budget for the fair prior to going to the Board of Commissioners in March, actually for final approval in June, but I have to have it submitted at the beginning of March. So that's why you're going to see this in January like you normally do every year. So the budget should look pretty darn the same. It's very, I would call this a flat budget. It is, the revenues are based upon the actuals from 22, 23. We're, kind of sticking that might, be what we're looking at. I do want to make a note that the estimated amount for transient lodging tax, the 620,000, that is just an estimate at this. I mean, it's always an estimate, but finance has not yet had a chance to really do a forecast yet for this next fiscal year, and they hope to have us a final estimate coming up. But this was their recommendation, just to use something very close to what we used last year. So that could change a little bit. And then there's one other item that could change, and that is on the very, very last line item, number 53010, which is our county indirect charges. That is also an estimate. Normally, the county puts together our indirect charges, and they are concrete. They give us those and they don't change. But this year, because the county is going through some budget constraints, the service departments that provide county services to us, like finance, contracting, facilities, and those things, they are going through some budget cuts. And so that number could change if their budgets are cut, which would then change that number for us. So once those two numbers are finalized, I will certainly send you an update on those, but those are estimates provided by finance at this time. You will see where I've reflected some budget changes for things like open class and 4-H and FFA and parking, just to reflect more of an accuracy. One thing that you'll see, bank service charges on item 52005. We no longer have our own bank. We now bank with the county, so we don't have service fees. So thank you very much. It's probably built into our indirect charges, but it's no longer, we don't have our own specific bank account anymore, which is actually saving us some money. So that's great. Other than that, it's a pretty status quo budget. You'll see some, I'm reflecting more accurate overtime. I'm assuming we're going to end up having a little bit more overtime this year, considering that labor is still challenging. And then we also have, I'm upping the advertising just a little bit. And that's it. Happy to answer any questions.
Leah, the one thing that jumps out on me, and it's even in response to last year pre-fair, was the livestock camping fees. I see they got a 225% budget increase. So that's the cost of the campers. So to cover that goes from 2,000 for that group to 6,500.
So in the past, we have well, we weren't sure how many people were going to attend this year. So this was based upon, we didn't know that livestock was going to be back when we put this budget together last year. We were still under COVID measures when I put this budget together last year. So we did not anticipate that we were going to be returned to normal and that we would have the number of 4-H campers that we did. I estimated incorrectly to a very low amount. So the 6,500 is a reflection of the actual, and that is a cost recovery. And I'll tell you, it doesn't cover our costs. We had to spend $6,000 just on restrooms. That doesn't include any labor, any garbage, anything else that goes with the campground. It was that was just what we pay, and we, so we still aren't recovering our costs, but we are getting closer.
So what have you done a breakdown of, like, how many camping spots are typically sold, and what would the cost per spot be? Would that be, I mean, the budget there, I shouldn't say the budget, but the the revenue from camping, you're looking to increase it by threefold. Is that going to mean to the people that camp there, is it going to be 3 times more expensive than it was? Is it going to be $300 a night for a spot?
No, that 6,500 represents the same price that you paid last year.
Okay, so
It's it's the amount of revenue that was raised at this last fair.
Right.
So it isn't an increase. It's just it's just meeting basically what was actually collected last year. So there's no increase.
So I was wondering if there's a way, I don't know, either further subsidize camping through the federal, through the general budget, or take a look at ways to save money on that. Because I know last year it caused a lot of problems with people not being able to either afford it and
So I guess I'm not sure what you're asking.
well, I was just looking at last year's budget for that, right? The expected revenue generated was 2,000, correct? And now you're proposing that they'll generate 6,500 this year from camping?
Like it did in 22, yes.
Okay,
And that is just a cost recovery. We have to be able to cover our costs on some of these things. We can't just have everything be an outgo all the time. We've got, I'm already absorbing higher costs for, I'm literally doubling the 4-H expenditures. We budget for 30,000 and it costs us about 60. So now we're budgeting for 60. We can't. And if you look, our profit for next year is going to be $4,000 estimated. That's a pretty
Okay.
tight margin. If we take that $6,000 away, then now we're at a loss. We're budgeting at a loss and we can't do that.
okay. I just know that last year it caused quite a bit of an issue. And we looked at some ways to maybe help supplement some of that. And I don't know if maybe as time gets closer, we can do that to even outside of the budget to help, help some of those people that need assistance, financial assistance.
How
with
would
the
you,
camping part.
Mitch, how would you propose that you do that?
Well, remember,
I-
Bob, last year you even
I-
talked about talking to,
I understand how you feel.
yeah,
And I feel the same way. We'd like to do everything, but you can't, unless you get some sort of a donor or some sort of a fundraiser.
right. And I guess that would just be kind of going to the private sector with that group and asking someone like Curtis Trailers. But then I don't know how that, like, as a sponsor to the fair, if they were to donate a certain amount of money to cover some of those line items. And
Yeah, if the livestock community was to find a sponsor that was willing to, subsidize those and pay for that, we're certainly always open to that. I don't have staff to go out and sell that either. So we
Right.
don't have a sponsorship salesperson these days because corporate sponsors have pretty much dried up. So if somebody certainly, 4-H or, people in the livestock community want to go out and try to find a sponsor, they're certainly, and, bring it to us and we can facilitate that, we're happy to do so.
okay.
But the hard
Okay.
costs are still there. We've got to bring in restrooms, we got to bring in dumpsters, they have labor that goes to it, I have to rent fencing. So it costs a lot of money. It probably costs
Yeah, I guess
about 10 grand.
I was just looking at the proposed budget from like on the income side of things, looking at the 2,000 last year compared to 6,500 this year. I was like, wow. But I guess that's what you're saying is a lot of that last year wasn't really covered. I mean,
So
I
Mitch,
understand the
what-
expense was a lot more than even the revenue gained in that area.
Yeah, so the other thing, Mitch, is I know that you're looking at the budget last year to budget this year. So what you don't see, you have to go back and look at the financials. So because we raised the rates on camping last year, we ended up making $6,500-ish. I don't have to go back and look at the exact line item to do cost recovery. And so it's technically, like Jerry said, it's not a 225% increase in what was already spent. That was already spent last year. So the budget is increasing, but the actual is not increasing.
Okay, well, thanks for the clarification on that.
when we submit our fee request to the county, I have to submit like what we charge for everything, what we charge for a booth, what we charge for, everything that we charge for. And the county expects cost recovery on these. So, and we're trying to do cost recovery on as much as we possibly can, because, it costs a lot of money to put the fair on. And there's a lot of things where it's just outgo, like entertainment and, the open class 4-H and FFA. Those are things that don't generate revenue. So that means we've got to be either covering our costs to generate revenue in other areas to cover those costs.
Well, yeah, it's pretty hard to record because you don't charge people to walk through the barns and look at the animals. There's not a direct revenue, but they are definitely a draw.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like the entertainment. We don't charge people to go sit and watch, our entertainment shows either, but it's a draw.
Any other questions on the proposed budget? Seeing none, Leah, do you need us to take action on this?
Yes.
Okay. Can I get a motion to accept?
Motion to approve.
Okay, can I get a
Second.
second? Roger, second on that.
Second.
All in favor, signify, thumbs up. Anybody going thumbs down?
I
Okay,
would actually think that the 4-H and FFA and the livestock and all those, I'm just looking down again at the proposed budget, the entertainment expenses are 500,000. And you say you don't charge, people to go watch those things, but they're a cost.
Lots of costs.
Yeah.
okay, based on the motion, second, it is approved. Now that still, Mitch, that still leaves provisions if you can find somebody that does want to take on, going ahead and see if we can get a
Yeah.
sponsor.
It doesn't matter where the money comes from as long as it comes in.
Okay, seeing that, the next is board elections. Each year we do have to elect a president and a vice president. The secretary position is held by a staff person, and so we don't have to worry about that. So this year we have to elect a president and a vice president. We still will have somebody hopefully getting soon to be able to replace Andy, who was the sitting vice president. So with that, let's go ahead and we'll start off with president. Does anybody want to nominate somebody for president?
I think Gary's doing a fine job and we ought to continue on with Gary. So I nominate Gary Seidel.
Second.
Does anybody else want to enter a name? Okay, then do we have a motion to approve the nomination of Gary Seidel?
I make a motion, we approve Gary Seidel as our next.
Second. All right, all in favor, signify by thumbs up.
Aye.
Any thumbs down?
So Gary, just as a comment, yeah, that was a real railroad thing that just went through there. Of course, it's like, let's have Gary do it. But we
Yeah.
do appreciate it. And you do a great job, Gary. So thank you very much for your, you're engaged and involved, and we appreciate the time and effort that you put into that. So thank you for being willing to do it again.
You bet, I'm willing.
From a staffing perspective, Gary, you do a great job assisting myself and the staff with the things that we need you to do from a presidential standpoint. And you show up to meetings and you, so just from myself and the staff, we do appreciate your work as president as well.
Okay, glad to do it. Now we've got to go for the second position, vice president. Do we have a motion to nominate someone for the position of vice president?
I'd love to back Gary up.
Okay, Bob Roger, and anybody else want to come in for the nomination of vice president?
Sure. I'll throw my name in the hat.
Okay, Mitch, so we got Bob and we got Mitch. Anybody else's name going in? Okay, I see we got two names. Okay, so we'll do the hand raise motion for bringing up.
let's think about that for a second. This does make it a little difficult. There's only 4 of us on this call, right? That can vote.
2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yep, there's 4 of you that can vote. Gary's the tiebreaker.
Four that can vote, and 2 are running. So Gary, it's between you and I would believe, as to what we think about this. I'm honestly, I'm a little uncomfortable about that because I like Bob and I like Mitch, and I don't care which one does it. So what do we? I mean, Gary, unless you have opposition to that, I'd say we do a coin flip.
Yeah, I've got
'Cause, I
both
mean-
there. I know Bob has been on the board a lot longer. There was all the goodings in there. Mitch came on last year. That'd be the only reason that I would go for Bob.
The only reason, Bob.
Plus, he's the only other one that holds a grand champion ribbon.
No.
That's true. I didn't want to bring that up to overshadow anybody else.
We could go.
Am I
if you
still
want.
on this thing?
You're here,
Yeah,
Bill.
go on. Yeah, Bill's on. So Bill
Oh
is.
yeah, that's right. So there's 3 of us. Okay.
Yeah.
We've had a couple blinks on the power out here, so I'm scrambling to stay on.
We can see you and hear you.
Okay.
Okay, Bill, we've got the suggestion in there for either Mitch and or Bob for the role of vice president. What do you say about that?
I nominate myself too.
Oh, are you?
Yeah.
Okay, so now we've got
So glad
3.
we're recording this. This is fun.
And I, like if I go back to the comment about Bob being on the longest, I'd have to revise that comment because Bill has been on the heck of a lot longer than any of us here.
But I
Yeah.
still don't have that big blue ribbon.
Well, yeah, but you helped Bob and I get us those ribbons because it was your cows.
That's true.
I think
This
Bill
sounds
has
like-
the longest tenure on the Fair Board in the Fair Board history.
Yeah, he does.
Probably.
And we start
Community-
talking about these blue ribbons and stuff. That sounds like some political graft or something, doesn't it, Leah? I don't know.
It does. I have
just-
photos though, so it makes more sense.
I just
I
wondered
think
if,
very much part of it.
I was wondering if Bill need any help, like haying or buying any more cows this year.
You help buy a cow, yeah,
I did help buy a cow for your grandson, Bill.
that's right.
Well, we could take this to the floor just like they did in the House today, and we could get to vote number 6.
Oh dear.
That's right.
We can also wait a few minutes till
Okay,
Joy.
fine.
Yeah.
We
Text
can
him.
try to do that. Okay, then let's hold off on that. See if AJ does get on before we get to the end. And prior to the oral communications number 2, we'll revisit the board. And just remember right now from all of us, we have 3 people that have thrown their name in the hat for vice president. Okay. All right, let's move to county administrative update if we have any.
So we don't have too much of an update, just as Rachel was not able to join us today from county admin. I talked a little bit about some of the budgetary challenges that are facing the county. So we are very lucky that we are not general fund or special fund. We are an enterprise fund. We don't get, the only dollars that we get from the county are TLT, and we get that by ordinance. So we are not facing any budget cuts this year. So that's great news for us. Other than that, I think things are going pretty well. Rachel didn't have anything that she wanted me to bring up. Jerry, is there anything from the Board of Commissioners you'd like to let us know about?
No, I don't think, and not in regards to certainly the fair. And we do have our meeting with them next week.
Yes.
And so we can have more conversation and hear from them as well next week. So I think that's going to be good enough.
Now, Jerry or Leah, do you know any of the vacant positions that we have regarding the fair by
So-
county staff? Are they going to be filled this year?
From our staffing perspective,
Yes.
yeah, we have 2 recruitments going right now. Every time we hire somebody, we lose somebody, it seems like. So we are down 3 people right now, no, 4 people right now, but we're recruiting 2. And then we'll start recruiting for the other 2. So I'm working with human resources on some of our challenges with retention and recruitment. As you know, Metro government runs, OCC, the Oregon Convention Center, and the Expo Center, and they pay a lot better. So we've had a couple of employees go to those 2 agencies after, they got some experience working in the event world. And then and the city of Hillsborough Parks Department pays a little bit better than the county as well. So we lost one to Hillsborough Parks and Rec. So we're talking with HR about things that we can do to try to retain our employees that we desperately need. But we do have 2 recruitments, and we'll be doing 2 more immediately following these 2.
Okay.
But I think, we're not the only ones short-staffed in the world, so we're getting by.
And that takes us right back to where we are with vice president for the board.
Yeah.
3 names in the hat. We got Mitch, we got Bob, and we got Bill. And Jerry, it's you and I, because AJ has not joined us here. How do you want to do it?
Has either of the 3 of them, I mean, Mitch hasn't because he just joined us a year ago, but Bob or Bill, have you been vice chair before?
I never have, no.
Neither has.
No,
have.
Bill has. Bill has.
Bill has, that's right. Before Andy, I think.
Before Andy came on.
Right.
Yeah, Bill was in line for, after that, he was in line to move into presidency, but then I snuck it out on him.
So just, I mean, if it helps, Vice President obviously backs up Gary. For those of you that, don't know, and you probably don't, I wouldn't say there's a lot of meetings that I have Gary and used to have Andy attend, but on a fairly regular basis, I would have Gary and Andy attend meetings with me with like the city of Hillsborough, with 4-H. If we have contracting that exceeds my budget authority, they back up for contract authority, for signing and attending contract meetings. Trying to think what else, Gary, just, sometimes signing checks, which I know Bob is actually a backup check signer. So just, it's not a ton of stuff, but it's when we have meetings, that need to be attended from our officers, I do call on the president and vice president to assist me with those things.
And Bill
Be
does.
flexible.
Bill is flexible and sits on the FAC committee as my back.
Well, and then the vice president also backs up Gary on the FAC as well.
Sure.
Sorry, I'm gagging, but it's not because of what I.
Yeah, no. Now I have a question, Jerry. This is because this does put us kind of in an uncomfortable position because all 3 of them are exceptional members. You want to do a quick phone call? You want me to call you?
Yeah, let's you and I have a powwow. Can we hit the pause button on this and
Sure, we can take a
I
quick
don't know.
break.
Okay, I'll do a mute.
Okay, me too. Thanks.
I wish we had some like Jeopardy music.
Hey, Leah,
Yeah.
when are we looking to get back together as in-person meetings?
I don't know that we are going to be able to do that anytime soon. So we
Why
are.
is that? Like what, I guess, why aren't we able to do that?
So because the state legislature made it so all public meetings have to be virtual and in person at the same time, and we do not have the technology or the staffing to do that. We tried to do it in July, if you'll remember. I don't remember on the board then. I think we're on the board then. And we just don't have the technology in this building to be able to do hybrid meetings. And so, so they can't be only in person. They either have to be all hybrid or all virtual or a hybrid of both. And it's really, from a staffing and technology perspective, it is easier for me and my staff to be able to manage this meeting virtually, where we just don't have the resources to do it hybrid.
I know we tried to do it, but
It was a failure. Yeah.
the building's wasn't cooperating.
And, this building was designed pre-COVID, before anybody ever thought that, we would need to be doing these hybrid types of meetings. So it would be great if someday we had the ability to retrofit our meeting spaces, but at this time we don't have the funding to do that.
That'd be nice to see in person again, but
Yeah.
Well,
the fact we have this
well,
time.
that answers my question. I wasn't aware there was a legislative thing. Is that due to retire or end anytime soon? Or is it it's a new law?
It is.
Okay.
And I don't know if they'll change it, but at this time it is what we are required legally to do.
Okay. Well, that answers that. I do. So much gets lost for me anyways, on the Zoom meetings, that even like today, I took time off work to get home to use Leah's computer, or my wife Leah's computer, and then it's having camera issues, it looks like. So, but I can see you guys. That's the most important thing.
Well, I lost power 3 times in this meeting today. So, and me being on a computer it's a challenge at best. So since I have Leah on the phone, I take a ham sandwich for the committee meeting.
Okay, perfect.
That
Actually,
way I don't have to call you tomorrow.
okay, perfect. So Bill wants ham. Actually, Mitch, are you attending next week's joint meeting?
Yes.
And what do you want?
Ham sounds good.
Ham sounds good. Oh, here's Ajoy. Hold on.
You better tell Jerry and Bob, or Gary.
There's Ajoy.
Yeah.
Hey, Joy's gonna want to run for vice president.
Okay, Ajoy, just to bring you in, and Leah, I will be attending on Zoom. Is that correct? I've got that set up?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
So yeah, I expect the turkey sandwich to be delivered.
Sure.
I'll pull a turkey sandwich.
To the turkey. I appreciate that in there. All right. Jerry and I had a conversation, and AJ, what the conversation was about, we did elect board members for next year. I was reelected as president. For vice president, we had 3 names thrown in, and we had Bill was thrown in, Bob, and Mitch, all 3 of their names in to run for vice president. Jerry and I just had a quick meeting right now to discuss the values in here. Do you have any comments on the 3 for vice president at this time?
I think all 3 of them are great.
We're putting you on the spot. Okay.
Nope, I don't have any.
Okay. Okay, then we won't really put you on the spot. And like I said, Jerry and I had a quick conversation, and realizing that Bill has been on the committee the longest in here. I realize this might be his last year, because I believe, Bill, you're up for the potential of next year. Is this year your 3rd year before you'll go up for a re-election?
3rd term.
It is 3rd. Okay, so Jerry and I did decide we would throw our vote in for Bill for the term of vice president.
Sure. Cool.
Congratulations.
Awesome. Congratulations, Bill.
Thank you.
Perfect. All right. With that, I don't believe we have any other city matters going on, do we, Leah?
Nope, just a reminder that next week is our retreat, basically, with the Board of Commissioners. Jerry, what kind of sandwich do you want?
Oh, I'm sorry. I gave that to Megan today. But then she went home sick, so she probably didn't communicate that. I'm going to go with the roast beef.
Okay. Hey, Ajoy, are you able to attend?
Yeah, probably I won't be because it's right in the middle of my meeting days.
Okay.
So probably I won't be able to attend the meeting. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Thanks. Yeah.
That's it for me.
Okay, with that, it's time for oral communications number 2. As we mentioned, this time allows a longer period of time. You can speak for 5 minutes. Maximum period for this oral communication period is a total of 30 minutes. Do we have anybody that would like to speak in oral communications 2? If so, raise your hand. Seeing no hands raised, we will close oral communications 2. And what that does is that throws us basically at adjournment. Can we get a motion to adjourn?
I move.
Okay, moved and seconded by Bill and Jerry. We're good to go. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay, looks like we're all in favor. With that, Leah, the next meeting we're coming online is going to be next week with the Board of Commissioners, right?
Yeah, that's our retreat with the Board of Commissioners next week, but our next Fair Board meeting is March 8th.
Okay, March 8th. Okay. Just to let the board know, I will be attending this via Zoom. My thoracic doctors, since I have 4 broken ribs, is basically they're looking to determine when they're going to do surgery. So I'm just waiting to find out. So they've advised do not go anywhere until after the surgery. So I will be staying at home. With that, the meeting is adjourned.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thanks, folks. Bye.
Bye.
Next week.